If you are an estate agent and you are thinking to yourself, how do I better myself? How do I improve the way I act as an estate agent? How do I get more business? How do I become more structured in my approach? Then one person you can certainly go to is your boss. But again, your boss can only tell you certain things, and the relationship that you have with your boss is the simple fact is that they are the boss, and that does change the dynamic slightly. But what if you had someone on your shoulder who was 100% in your corner, a titan of the industry to guide and support you to be an awesome, happier, more productive estate agent? Then listen up in the next couple of minutes, because I'm going to be talking to a gentleman called Alex Pelosi Buchanan, who is an extremely well-known estate agent in Southeast Wales. Alex, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Chris. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure. Thank you. The pleasure is mine and everyone that's watching. Now, Alex, you're a bloody good estate agent, and I'm not just saying that lightly. You appeared on the Watkins sofa, but what made you think you needed additional help over and above than what your boss could give you?
Well, I think that, when I talked on the sofa, Chris, we talked about, kind of always wanting to be better and always not believing you're beyond learning. And, I've been, as a mentor, Joe, our director of the business, has been, phenomenal over the last
Top
2
man.
years, top bloke, really good agent, learned so much from him. But I think for me, it was just kind of curious, I suppose. I was reading a lot of books and a lot of people, and I heard a lot of other agents, even some of the biggest industry people out there, were talking about they had mentors. And you think, well, if these guys have got mentors, maybe it's worth me looking into. But you could look into the mentorship programs. Some of them, I'm a member of the real estate gym, but that's a good few £100 a year, but that's not one-to-one training. And you can look at a lot of these one-to-one mentoring schemes, and some of them are in their thousands, even tens of thousands, to have these mentors. So I suppose in a way it was a case that I thought, well, if there was a way I could perhaps learn something from someone, and even if it's just taking that one little nugget that makes a difference to me or different to the business we're already working in, that it's definitely worth looking into. And that's kind of where I stumbled across Agents Together, basically. And that was where I kind of thought, well, what's the harm at least inquiring and seeing if there is anyone out there that can help me.
So you clicked on the link, which I think is above or below this video, and you filled in the form, and you were spoken with the wonderful Sam Offley, or as we call him,
yes.
Black. Did he just mentor you, match you up with any old person?
No, we had a really, really good chat. Kind of, again, get, I suppose, personality, and also kind of got to know in terms of what my thoughts were in the market, just everything. It was just a really good chat about, experience and, what it was I wanted to get out of. And it's quite interesting, actually, when you're sat there talking to someone about your frustrations and things you wish you could do better. Like, kind of, again, it kind of opened up, and then, Sam said, well, look, I'm going to go away and I'll come back to you. And fair play, he came back and he said, look, I think I found a really good fit for you. Which was Ross.
So that's Ross Dianiello from
yes.
North Brighton. Oh my word, he's amazing.
He is, and a really good fit, because us as a business, the brand I work for, Archer & Co., we've gone from being one branch before lockdown to just opening our fourth very recently and taking on 2 associates. So we've grown considerably. And Knockdighton, that Ross works for, a multi-branch, they've grown considerably. They've got big teams. So although, again, a lot of it was from a personal point of view, I wanted to learn more about leadership and how can I lead better, and how can I suppose be that person people look up to and aspire. It was quite interesting, actually. We took a lot from it, mentoring wise, from the business side of things as well. So there was a personal element to the mentoring, and there were things that I picked up on that I went away and did, which have worked really well. So Ross was very much, we kind of reviewed, what do I do on a day-to-day basis, talk me through what you do today. And there was lots of things highlighted that we weren't doing regular one-to-ones. We weren't really maybe having regular, more structured meetings. We weren't. So even though we were very busy, and I think like any agent over the last 2 years, we've kind of been busy fools, really. We've been literally coming in and the phones are ringing off the hook. So we kind of, I suppose, we lost a bit of that structure which we used to have. And we looked back and thought, well, yeah, before COVID, we used to sit down and we'd have a meeting downstairs and we'd all talk. But that was when we were one little branch where there was like maybe 5 or 6 of us. And suddenly we've got multiple branches, and we kind of started looking at ways that maybe we can improve that, and how personally I can try and be a better leader. Things I'm still working on, but at the same time, things also within the business, which some of them have transformed the business already.
I mean, if I asked two sets of people, one, Joe, your leader, and two, your colleagues that work with you, what would they say has changed about you because of this mentoring?
Well, I think in terms of probably perhaps a little bit less stressed about things, because we've put in a bit more structure to things. It doesn't feel like I'm running around like a headless chicken, and it's like last minute things, or forgot to talk about this. And I think having that structure there, and I think just, I suppose, being like doing the one-to-ones, I think there was things that needed to be aired, and I think that there were things I needed to say, and there was things that they needed to say. And it was good to kind of have that situation where you kind of thinking, well, look, let's talk about it. Let's talk these things through. And there were things that people were frustrated about, which we went away and we actioned, from a business point of view and within the office. And, so it was good to kind of air those things out, because, when things are kind of bubbling away in the background and they're brewing, and you can feel the tension sometimes, because, I've seen it. I've walked into estate agents' offices, and you could cut the tension with a knife. You can just feel the atmosphere in there. And sometimes all that can take is just to sit down and say,
and so Ross has basically enabled you to work more on the business, which means your colleagues are less stressed because you're not running around like a headless chicken. What would Joe say about you, your leader?
Well, I think obviously he's very keen for me to, do more and look after things, obviously do more within the business, as well as going out and valuing and doing all that. So, I think obviously he's happy to see that, I've got literally, after my first meeting with Ross, I had, I've got my notepad here literally filled. And I went and sat down with him, and I just went through it and said, right, look at this stuff. These are things we need to do. We need to action this. And, probably from him, I'd like to think that he saw, blooming hell, okay, here's someone who's actually gone away and thought, let's do things, let's do it. I haven't just gone and done this mentoring session. And again, I think all of us, it doesn't matter what industry you're in as agents, we're all guilty of going to these mentoring, or it could be, where it's the Guild Awards and the conferences. We all go to these things and we fill our notebooks full of pads. And I think the biggest thing is that we fill our notebooks full of notes. But the biggest thing, we all come back and we're ready to just throw it all at everyone in the office. But a lot of the time it doesn't stick, so it's again being allowed us a bit of time to really think things through, and what do we want to implement, how are we going to implement it, and
then you've got full accountability, because you're going to
exactly. So the next meeting, Ross was like, how did you get on with this? Ross suggested me reading several books, one of which was The One Thing by Gary Keller. And to be fair, the next time we met, Ross was like, how'd you go on with reading that book? And I was like, I didn't get round to reading it. So that time I downloaded the audiobook. So then, because literally I've been so busy, so I listened to it in the car. So again, there was that bit of accountability with things to say, how did you get on with this? What worked, what didn't? And, it was great to just have, even if it was a quick message on WhatsApp about something, I could just drop him a quick WhatsApp, to ask. So even just in between those individual sessions, I could still, kind of reach out, and, that was invaluable.
So your leader's happy, your team colleagues are happy.
As far as I'm aware, Chris.
Are you happier?
What's that? Sorry?
Are you happier? Do you feel more fulfilled?
100%. And like I said, it's kind of given me that newfound confidence, which is something that, I think we all can, sometimes feel that we're failing at what we do. And it's great sometimes to have, I think, someone outside the business, because they can tell you as it is. They're not worried about the fact that they've then got to go and sit next to you. So, being able to say to you, you need to do this, or need to be doing less of that, or maybe don't do this way, it's going to be easier. So I suppose it's helped me kind of realize things that I needed to start and stop doing. And in doing so, as I said, I'd like to think it's made me a happier person and more organized, because I'm not the most organized person in the world. And it's just helped me perhaps organize and try and focus on what's important and what we need to actually get on with.
Okay, so come on then, what's the catch? What does it cost?
It cost me, other than my time, cost me nothing. So, I think that time is it's
got to be a catch. There's got to be a catch to this.
No, nothing.
So basically, Agents Together have organised someone who's big in the game, in the industry, to help and guide and support you to be a better agent.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything.
Nope.
It sounds like a win-win situation.
Well, I think as the industry as a whole, I think, agents, I think we're all it's all a bit of an egotistical thing. I think, it's very easy to look at other agents and, kind of really feel, like almost like the enemy. So, the whole idea that scheme is agents helping other agents, I think it's great. We should all do that anyway. We should all be working together. We all want the same thing. We want to get deals done. So why, is the industry so against each other? And I think that unfortunately, it's something that's brewed over many years, and maybe it's
well, you'd never talk to your competitors in the town, but he's up in Shropshire, you're down in Monmouthshire, but
yeah.
you want to help, he wants to help. It's great.
Well, exactly. We're not stepping on each other's toes, but even again, I think there are agents within our towns that have got good experience, and it's a shame that there's agents who are in our town who've been doing it for 40 years that have got great businesses. But we wouldn't reach out to them and say, look, could you talk me through? It's just, and it's a shame it's that way, because you think that they would just be able to give you and bestow all their knowledge on you. But to have someone like Ross out of area without the threat that, you're feeling you're giving away your industry secrets was invaluable. So we're very grateful for the opportunity.
What would your final message be to any estate or letting agent watching this video, whether they're a neg, a valuer, a branch manager, or whatever position they're in, about trying to get a mentor through Agents Together?
I think if you're in a situation, regardless of whether, as Chris said, whether you're a neg or whether you're a valuer, a manager, even a director, whatever position you may be in, if you're feeling any way kind of stuck or trapped and don't know, how can I get myself to that next level? How can I get myself? Maybe, you keep thinking, why does everyone else keep getting the valuer roles when they come up? I never seem to get myself put forward. Maybe it's worth getting a mentor. And maybe they can give you an idea about valuing and, what you need to do. Maybe if you're a senior sales neg, there might be things you're doing that are stopping you from having that opportunity. It might be that boss is trying to keep you in your place. So maybe you need to go and find another job. But at least having someone there to give you that advice and guide you to say, this is what you need to do to get to that level. Like I said, it's invaluable. And the fact that it's free. I mean, what have you got to lose? Honestly, I think we had 3-4 sessions. And we've had other little catch-ups in between, but what have you got to lose? 4 hours over the next 6 months.
There you go. Alex, you've been an absolute star. Thank you very much. I do hope that you get the rest of your colleagues in your Archer & Co. Some mentoring as well to make them happier. And I finally want to say thank you for watching this. If you'd like more information about the mentoring service, there's a link below or below. I never know where it is, but it's there. Thank you, Alex, for your time. And thank you, Ross, for your help and guidance, looking after this very, very extremely awesome young, well, not so young now, are you? How old are you now?
I'm coming up 34 now, Chris.
34, a baby. What boys and girls, watch this man. He's an exceptional estate agent. Thank you, Alex, for your time, and thank you for watching.
No, thank you again, Chris. All the best. Cheers.